Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Kay and we are just here to talk about all things reading hopes and goals for the 2024 year. So stick around if you want to hear what my plans are for 2024 reading. So there are a few different sections of different types of goals that I've set in this video, and I will just say I don't plan to go too in depth into what every single one of all the books are about, just because I think I have over 20 books in this video. So I will leave absolutely every single book and title in the comments, and if it's something you can get on Kindle Unlimited, because I know a lot of people have that subscription, I will also leave that note in the description box. First and foremost, my initial goal for 2024 reading year is to journal reading what I've read a lot more frequently. I think this will be such a great way at the end of the year to be able to look back on what I read at the beginning of the year, my favorite quotes and authors, and just my thoughts, because I feel like by the end of the reading year, sometimes we don't always remember what we loved so much about a book at the beginning of the year. So I think having this journal will be a great way to reflect on my reading year and kind of remember what I loved so much about certain books, or maybe what I didn't necessarily love. So this one is my favorite color. It is gold and emerald green, and I just got this one on Amazon. I think it was like $10 or something. So we will just see how that goes and if it's something I can keep up with. My second goal, if my shelves behind me look at all a little messy or like they've been ransacked, that is a good thing, because my second goal is to shop my physical shelves. So to read books that I actually already own, and for any type of new book that I'm reading, I'm hoping to just utilize my Kindle a lot more, and just get them from the library, or if they are like super mega on sale for ebooks. I intend not to spend a lot of money on books this year, so definitely utilizing my Kindle and that Kindle Unlimited subscription a lot more frequently. I think a lot of us are on the same page when it comes to wanting to just read the books that we own. I think it's so easy for us book lovers to collect and collect and collect books, and then you get excited about them all and then you just sit them on your shelves and you forget about them. So knowing that I have invested in all of these books that I own, this is like half of my collection, and I've probably read half of my collection. So just knowing that I have so many options in this very room in my house, I'm very blessed to have that, to be able to just go to my own shelf and read them. So there were a few exceptions to my 2024 book buying ban. One is my birthday in June. My husband takes me to my favorite bookstore every single year for my birthday, and we just kind of spend a couple hours perusing and buying books. So I definitely plan to book shop that day in June, and I'm allowing myself 3 pre-orders. So I know Mary E. Pearson is coming out with a new book at the end of 2024, and once that's available for pre-order, I will be ordering that book. If Rebecca Yarros has the next book in the Empyrean series come out this year at all, I will definitely be pre-ordering that. And then my third one, I'm just saving it for something that really piques my interest. So I'm allowing myself 3 pre-orders this year, and that's kind of where I'm hoping to stick with my book buying in 2024. But also, if I happen to sell any books that I own, I am okay with using that book money to rebuy new books. That's just book math, right? So a family friend recently invited me to a group that she is hosting on Facebook, and it's called the First 100 Days of Finish. And what that entails is people just in our circle, in our community, are spending the first 100 days of 2024 just finishing projects. So some people are quilting, some people are cleaning out their houses, and I chose to use the first 100 days of 2024 to focus on finishing series that I have started, have been in the middle of forever. So I'm just going to go through the series I'm planning to focus on from now to mid-April. So the very first series that I need to finish is The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. I'm not going to go too into depth on this because I did talk about it a lot in my last video, but there is one more book that is currently out. I don't know if he plans to write more for the series, but I have not read the most recent one. This is just a murder mystery series about 4 people in their 70s that solve murders. And so it is hilarious and I cannot wait to finish this series. The next series that I so desperately need to finish, and I also only have one more remaining in, is the Jade City trilogy. This is the Bone Saga trilogy by Fonda, Leigh, or the Green Bone Saga, my bad. This book is phenomenal. I still have the third one to read and it's like 800 pages long, and I think that's just intimidated me a lot. And this is so high in politics. If you have read if you've seen the movie The Godfather, this is essentially the fantasy version of The Godfather. It is so good, but very, very high in politics, very, very light on romance. So this is just a very action-packed trilogy, and I have fallen in love with this, so I definitely need to just finish the last book. The next series that I have one book that I need to finish, and let me say this is a prequel and it came out like 10 years after the rest of the books, and that is I need to read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I have reread The Hunger Games multiple times. It is the only series I have actually reread, but I have never read the prequel. If my understanding is correct, this follows President Snow's story, and I just hated President Snow so much, especially after Mockingjay. So I need to finish this. I know I need to, and maybe I'll have a soft spot for President Snow after. I don't know. Anyway, I need to finish this. The fourth series that I need to finish is the Lord of the Rings trilogy and The Hobbit. I have not read The Hobbit. So I read this first one. I don't know if you can see how many tabs there are in this. I have literally annotated the heck out of this first book, The Fellowship of the Ring. And I just loved this so much. So I paired this with listening to Andy Serkis's version of the audiobook. Andy Serkis is an amazing, phenomenal narrator. I believe he actually played Gollum in the movies for this, so his voices are incredible, and honestly I'm really excited because I bought all of the audiobooks with Audible credits a couple years ago, and I just need to finish it and just get back into this world and listen to Andy Serkis. The next series I need to finish is the From Blood and Ash. Last night I actually finished The Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, which is the second book, and there are 5 in this series, and the cliffhanger that the second one ended on, I definitely need to continue this. So I have 3 more of this series to read, so hopefully I will be able to finish that in the first 100 days. And if I'm not already biting off more than I can chew, the next series that I need to finish is the Throne of Glass series. I have read Assassin's Blade, Throne of Glass, and Crown of Midnight, which are the first 3. However, it's been so long since I've read the first books, so I definitely think I need to at least reread Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight and continue with, I think there's 7 books in this series, but I know that last book is over 1,000 pages long. So, you know, we've got Lord of the Rings, From Blood and Ash, Throne of Glass. We just have so many big books to finish, and even Jade Legacy, that's like an 800-page book, so I might be biting off more than I can chew the first 100 days, but you know, even if I just finish a couple of these series, I will count that as a complete success, and I will be very happy about that. My next section of books that I would like to read in 2024 are actually series that I would love to start. So first up is the Aragon series by Christopher Paolini. I think that's how you say that. If I'm incorrect, please let me know. But this series has been around forever. I'm not going to go too far into detail about what it's about. Dragons, I know there's like a dragon egg or something like that, but it's an adventure series and I'm just wanting more fantasy adventures. So really excited to read this. I think this will be a spring or summertime pickup. I don't know why, but dragons just give me like spring and summer vibes. Is anybody else like that, or is that just me? Does anybody think of like winter when they think of dragons? Is that weird to put a dragon with a season? I don't know. That's just where I'm at. But anyway, I can't wait to read through this series. The next series I have had on my shelf forever, and that is Shadow and Bone Trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. I did read Six of Crows. I actually need to finish Crooked Kingdom. I think I might need to add that on my first 100 days to finish. We will see. But I have heard that reading this first makes Six of Crows even better because you understand the world more. I was just fine reading Six of Crows without reading this, but I've heard this is great, and so I think it's one that I need to pick up. Next up is The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. I loved the Dance of Thieves duology by Mary E. Pearson, and I believe that this is the Remnant Chronicles. It's a trilogy, and I believe that this is about the queen from the Dance of Thieves duology. I believe this is the queen's backstory, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm very excited to get back into this world and just read more of Mary E. Pearson's work. Okay, the final series that I need to start is Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. This is a big boy. This has been on my bookshelf forever. I have the first and second. I pre-ordered the third one forever ago. I think I'm just a Sarah J. Maas. Like, I don't care what she writes, what's coming out, I'm buying it. Her characters just, they feel like friends and like people that you know. I don't know. I care so much about the characters that she writes, so I know I need to get into Crescent City. I think I need to read Throne of Glass first and then continue with this series. So I'm excited. I think I'm just intimidated by how big this freaking book is. So wish me luck on all of these series that I plan on starting in 2024. Hopefully starting and finishing, but we will see because I'm clearly putting so much on my plate. My next set of books are actually standalone books that I would like to read, or if any of them happen to have a sequel, I just probably am not aware of it. But these are standalones that I would like to read in 2024. First up is The Stranger in a Lifeboat by Mitch Albom. This is posing the question, what would happen if we cried out to God for help and someone claiming to be God actually appeared before us? So I'm just going to leave that one at that. Mitch Albom is amazing. He writes very hard-hitting stories that really get you thinking about life in general. Second, The Library Spy. This is by Madeline Martin. So normally I have never been a historical fiction reader. However, my absolute favorite book of all time is The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society, which is a historical fiction book around World War II. And I saw this book, Librarian and Spy. It's about a woman during World War II who gets recruited to go pose as a librarian and actually spy on the opposing side. So that just sounds so interesting to me. I'm very excited to read this one and see what this one is about. Next up, I have a couple mysteries. The first one is The Christie Affair by Nina de Gramont. If I said that wrong, please let me know. But this is essentially loosely based on a true story. So if you did not know, during Agatha Christie's life, she went missing for 10 days straight, and nobody knows what happened to her during those 10 days that she went missing. She never talked about what happened to her, and it's just this big mystery. I mean, that's very fitting for the Queen of Mystery. And so this is this author's idea of what happened with her during those 10 days that she went missing. So it's definitely fiction, but based on something that did happen. And so I'm just very interested to see what this author think happened with Agatha Christie during the 10 days that she went missing. The next book is The Beekeeper's Apprentice, and this is by Lori R. King, and this was actually recommended to me by some women at my local bookshop. And I basically walked in and I said, I want a good mystery book. I just need a mystery novel. And this is what they pointed me to. It's a mystery following Sherlock Holmes. So I don't think it's from his point of view, but anyway, I'm not 100% sure. I'm very excited to read this one though. The next novel has been sitting on my bookshelf, I'm not even kidding you, for like 5 years maybe now, and I've never read it. It is easily one of the most beautiful books that I own, and I still cannot believe that I've read it. And that is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I know people have a love-hate relationship with Erin's writing. However, I read The Night Circus and it was one of my favorite books. I was a huge fan of just the storyline, the elements, and Erin's writing. So I know I just need to read The Starless Sea because I think I will really love this too. So the next book up is Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. And it is my understanding that he wrote this book for his wife. It wasn't even something that he was going to publish, but his wife just loved it so much and wanted him to publish it, so he did. And this, I've heard it's for fans of The Princess Bride, which The Princess Bride is one of my all-time favorite movies, so I'm definitely very excited to read this. Speaking of The Princess Bride, I would really like to read The Princess Bride this year. This is by William Goldman. I don't know if this can be considered a classic. I feel like it probably should be, but I am a huge fan of this movie. I love Wesley. I love Princess Buttercup. Inigo Montoya is just the man. The book was better. I'm always that kind of a gal, so I can only imagine how much I will enjoy this when I enjoyed the movie so much. The next section of books are actually classics. Classics are something that have intimidated me like crazy for a very long time. I feel it was always intimidating to me because I always thought, what if I'm not smart enough to read that? What if it doesn't make sense to me? And you know what? I feel these books were literally written 100, 200 years ago, maybe not 200 years ago, but a long time ago. So of course some of the terminology is going to be different in these books. One thing I love about my Kindle is when I am reading a classic, I can hold like my finger down over a word and the definition will automatically pop up. So that's been really helpful for me when it comes to reading classics. But also I feel like it's okay to DNF a book, and just because you don't like a classic or you might not be interested in them does not make you any less of a reader, and I feel that's kind of a weird pressure that us readers put on ourselves. However, when I have picked up classics in the past, I have adored and loved them, so I think there's a reason that they have stuck around for so long in the reading community. So I definitely would like to read more. I don't know if I'll read every single one on this list, but these are definitely my mostly interested classics that I'd like to read this year. First up is Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray. I'm not going to go into details about what all of these are about just because they're classics and I feel like most people might know what they're about. I would love to read Les Miserables or Les Miserables. I don't know. I looked it up how to say that and I still don't think I'm saying it right. I am obsessed with the movies to this. I like the original one more than the musical. I do very much enjoy the musical. The older one, I'll put a picture of it up somewhere, just has my heart. I love this story, so I'm very excited to see what this one is like in book format. Next up is Emma by Jane Austen. I have read Pride and Prejudice by her and I absolutely loved it, but that's the only book I've read by Jane Austen, and I'm pretty sure my best friend Catherine was telling me that this book is hilarious. I think I heard like Emma like tries to set people up like on dates or courting, or I don't know, to be in love or something like that. Like she's a matchmaker. I could be totally wrong about that, but that's what I think I've heard. But this, I definitely need to add it to my reading list. Next up is a very short book, and that is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I have never read The Great Gatsby, but I like the movie. I can only imagine how I'll feel about this. Next up is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I think this is another one that my friend Catherine has recommended to me. I could be wrong about that, Catherine. If I'm wrong, let me know, but I think you really like this book. And finally, over Christmas 2023, I read A Christmas Carol for the first time in my life, and that is by Charles Dickens, and that book had me cracking up. I loved it. I was easily able to understand it. I loved his humor so much. I don't know if he has the same humor in all of his writing. However, I'm going to pick up The Great Expectations at some point this year and hopefully find out if maybe it was just that book that I liked, or maybe I'm just a Charles Dickens fan. The very final section of books that I'm hoping to read in 2024 is rereads, and the two books that I want to reread are some that I've claimed to be my favorite of all time, so I'd like to read them again and get another opinion. So first up, as mentioned earlier, The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society by Mary Ann Schaefer and Ann Barrows. I tabbed the heck out of this book. It is annotated. I read this one in the span of like a day. It's less than 300 pages, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's definitely less than 300 pages, so it'll be a good quick read in between the big fantasies that I read. But I just adored this story so much. I read it probably a year and a half ago, so I would love to read it again and see if I have the same opinion. Finally, I think in the fall time and around Christmas, I would like to do a Harry Potter reread. I read Harry Potter for the first time from 2019 to 2020, and I loved it so much, and it was really a catalyst to get me reading again in my adult life. I always had like an on and off reading life through my teenage years and early adulthood. But as soon as I read Harry Potter, I've pretty much constantly been reading a book since then. I'm excited to jump into Harry Potter again and just jump back into the world of Hogwarts. So 2023 was honestly a very weird reading year for me. I ended the year with 31 books. I was enrolled as a college student. I got pregnant and had my first baby, so my year was kind of all over the place. But now that my little sweet boy is here, I'm currently no longer taking courses, so I just have more of a schedule, as much of a schedule as you can have with a baby. And I'm just excited to get back into my reading swing of things. I'm hoping to read at least 60 books this year, but we will see, because as you guys saw, I have some really hefty books on my list, so we will see. But I figured 5 books a month sounds like something that could be manageable for me. So we'll see how that goes, but I am very excited to be on here to continue reading, and I think 2024 is going to be a super great reading year, especially with all the books that I talked about in this video. If you've read any of these books in this video and you loved them or hated them, please let me know in the comments. I'm very interested. And also let me know what you're planning to read in 2024, if you have any goals, any favorite books, or any books that you're anticipating to come out. I really want to hear all about what your 2024 reading plans are. Anyway, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video and joining me here. I hope to see you next time, and I hope you have a blessed day.